Oh, hey, there you are. I heard you wanted to grade your Pokemon cards. Well, let me show you how. Come with me. All right, and here we are, guys, at the cgccards.com website for submitting your cards to CGC for grading. CGC is a little bit different in terms of your initial account setup. You do have the option to do free, and you're going to get limited submission privileges. You just can't submit as shows. This gives you full submission privileges as an associate level, $25. This is annual too, by the way. This is not like monthly or anything like that. You get 10% off at the CCG store and $15 CGC trading card shipping kit voucher for new members. What's really cool about the premium and the elite is that they give you a $150 credit with CGC. Now, I have never used this before, so in terms of what this is actually applicable toward, you'd have to, use it to find out. Maybe eventually we'll do it just for the purpose of, showing you guys the value of it, but as of right now, we can't afford to. We're gonna go ahead and click on the free. And this is the first account we've actually created with CGC. As always, guys, I recommend reading the services terms and conditions, member agreement, privacy policy, and website legal notice. I'm not going to read through that for the purpose of saving you guys time, but I always recommend doing that. There's e-newsletters. You can get news updates on trading cards, sports cards, estates, coins, all the different options for collectibles. If you want news and offers, hobby deals and announcements, different stuff that's going on in the hobby. You can accept private messages from other members if you want to. So that's an option that you could put on. I'm probably gonna leave that off for now. Text message updates. So that's going to be largely beneficial. And then you have the option to just unsubscribe from all emails and text messages, which, I mean, if you're very patient and you're not really worried about the status of your cards or anything, then that might be the option for you. We're gonna go ahead and save all of that. So now we're in. All right, so you've got the option to submit your trading cards for grading. CGC trading card grades the most popular TCGs, including Pokemon Magic and many more. So what's interesting though is it's asking us to upgrade right away. It looks like in order to send our cards in using the website, we have to upgrade to the associate level of $25. There may be a submission form that allows us to, and I'm going to be real about this. I'm going to continue recording through this whole process because I want you guys to see possibly how difficult this is or how easy this is. All right. Trading card. Okay, so receiving. Ready to submit. Okay, here we go. How to submit. Become a member. Join as a paid member. You get full submission. Okay, so as a free member, you can't submit anything. Is that what's the point of being a free member? So you have to pay essentially. Let's see what benefits these come with. Is there a limitation? Can you just send as many cards as you want? Like, how does this? That doesn't make any sense. This does not make any sense. We'll renew at a $5 discount. Yeah, this does not make sense. Personally, so, okay, after everything I've seen so far, just how unclear everything is, whereas like PSA is very clear, it's very easy. BGS's paper process is pretty cut and dry. I have an older video on it, and we may be releasing a new video on it as well at the same time as this CGC and the PSA video that are dropping. But I'm really off-put by just how this doesn't feel scammy, but it feels they're just trying to guarantee that they're getting money out of people, whether they're gonna submit their cards or not. Because I'm guessing services and fee. Oh, here's a submission form. All services and fees. Okay. Bulk, $15 per card, $5 handling fee. But there doesn't seem to be a difference in cost between which member tier you have. And what's interesting to me, let's see the submission form here. Upgrading to Elite gets you 10% off most CGC grading. I mean, there might be savings there, but you're asking for money up front with no services. use this form, online form, start new order, trading card, mail in. Okay. Yeah, grading is not an option for the free membership. That is crazy. Like, at least have like standard pricing for non-members. I don't like that at all. That's kind of messed up to me. Like, in order, you gotta like give us 25 bucks out right off the bat in order to grade your cards. I don't like that. Even if the savings add up, like, why not just charge $1 more or something like that instead of making it like a commitment to an annual charge? So, I mean, there's that, you know, my take on it. I will not be grading with CGC because of that. Whether or not you guys continue to choose to is entirely up to you. I'm sure that the value is there. It just personally rubs me the wrong way that they have it this way. As always, I'm still gonna go through the whole process with you guys. But as you saw from the submission form, depending on how many cards you're sending out and how quickly you want them back, grading cards can honestly cost you a lot of your hard-earned money, but it doesn't necessarily have to. If you're careful about the cards that you're choosing to send out for grading, you could potentially even make money off of grading cards. If you're comfortable evaluating your cards already, then go ahead and skip to the next portion of the video. But if you feel like you could use some help, here's a few things that we think you should look out for when you send your cards for grading. To properly examine your card, you're going to want to look at 4 primary things: the corners, the surface, the edges, and the centering. Centering is usually one of the easier things to tell. Sometimes you can be really close, and depending on the grader, they may or may not grade in your favor. Surface is probably one of the harder ones, along with edges, and then corners are usually pretty self-explanatory as long as you've got sufficient lighting. On this card in particular, the surface looks pretty clean at first glance. No real issues to report. Sometimes you get print lines in the hollow on certain holographic cards. On this one, we don't see any, even in changing the light that's refracting off of there. Centering looks pretty good. Left is a little bit wider than the right. On the back, it's a little more drastic than it is on the front, the right being wider than the left. Top to bottom looks about the same on both sides. Surface with normal cards, non-V, VMAX, alt art, full art, none of the special cards, anything that is a rare and below, essentially, with the exception of special sets. As long as it has this similar configuration with the yellow border, you should be able to pretty clearly tell if there's any issues with the surface pretty quickly. The edges can be a little difficult. So I'll show you an example of a clean edge. This is a clean edge. When you compare it to the edge on the other side, you can see some discoloration where it's slightly more blue based on some edge fraying, damaging that's happened over time. The surface, corners, centering, and the edges. All in all, when you take into consideration everything that is, I would say, wrong with this card in terms of trying to get a perfect grade, we would probably be sitting around an 8.5 to a 9, just because the centering is not so drastically off that I think that it would deduct us beyond a 9. The corners, while slightly miscut, are pretty typical in terms of how they're cut. And the edges, I think it would most likely be based on whether or not the grader is sufficiently looking at it in the right angle and the right light. But all in all, beautiful card. I would most likely send it out for grading, maybe not BGS, but likely PSA. BGS is a little tougher than PSA in terms of grading. So I would send this out. If you have a card similar to this and you're looking to get 10s, I probably would not send it out for your sake, but for the sake of collecting and preserving an absolutely beautiful card, it's worth it. Hopefully that helps. When it comes to packaging your items, typically it's going to depend on how many items you're sending out at a time. If you're only sending between 1 and 5, you may be able to get away with just using the bubble mailers, where you can put your cards in top loaders, secure them with some type of cardboard on the outsides or some type of like flat plastic to keep it from bending, send them off in the bubble mailer. In the event that you have more than that, or maybe your top loader is wider, or you'd prefer to just add some more bubble wrap, maybe some extra protective layers, a small box is the most ideal. Typically, you want to keep it as close to the size of the item that you're actually sending to reduce the amount of space it takes up, because it's going to cost you more to ship it, to reduce the potential chance that it may get shifted around in transit. Once you send your product off, you'll obviously have your tracking information if you pay for a sufficient level of shipping for tracking. From there, once the product is received by the grading service, you should then get some form of update, either by email or phone call, depending on if there's any issues, that your item has been received, that they're working on it. Depending on if there's a backlog, which over the last few years has been fairly common. In the event that you run into that scenario, most likely, I would expect to almost double the amount of time the grading service you paid for calls for. That's just personal experience. They've been getting better. They've opened more warehouses across most of the grading service businesses. So not necessarily a concern there, but something to consider. Receive your email or phone call, you'll log into your account, and usually you can see what the grades are, subgrades if you paid for subgrades depending on which grading service you used, and you can kind of know and expect what is coming back to you, so that if you do decide to sell them, you can prepare your posts for when they arrive, so that you're not waiting until the last minute to get the information that you need. Something to keep in mind is, depending on the grading service and the shipping service that they use to send back to you, the possibility exists that if you are not home when the cards arrive to sign for the cards, that they may be held at the shipping service provider, UPS, USPS, FedEx, till the point where you're able to go pick them up. Massively inconvenient for those that work during the hours that they are open. However, usually you can try to coordinate and reschedule a drop-off or something like that by going on to the shipping or delivery services website. Huge shout out to StreamBeats, providing the royalty-free music that is in this video. We are not sponsored in any sort of way. We do not receive anything from this. So if you guys have not checked out StreamBeats before, streambeats.com, you can download all of the tracks that they have. It's in a Google Drive, super easy to use, highly recommended. So go check them out. Senpai Gaming, Harris Heller, thank you guys tremendously. Your music has made a huge difference in the industry, so thank you. Super easy to use, highly recommended. So go check them out. Senpai Gaming, Harris Heller, thank you guys tremendously. Your music has made a huge difference in the industry. All right, guys, good luck with all of your grading adventures. Hopefully this information helped you out so that you can be on your way to getting your first or additional PSA 10s. If you like this comment, please leave a like. Comment down below if this helped you out, and if you're not subscribed already, well, you know what to do. As always, guys, stay safe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.